What's up, Explearners? Welcome back. If you're new, hi, my name is Daphne, and this is the place for you if you want to improve your communication skills, which will positively impact your professional and personal lives. So I'm so happy that you're joining me today. In this video, we're talking about a conversation framework, a speaking model framework that will help you determine how to communicate with people. Because the way we communicate is based on a number of components. And today we're going to get into what those components are that is going to help you figure out how to talk with people. So this is a framework that was designed by a sociolinguist. His name is Dell Hymes, and he's the one who came up with the term communicative competence. What this framework shows us is that language and culture are related and they cannot be separated. This model is part of what we call the ethnography of communication. We're going to look at the acronym SPEAKING and what each of those letters stand for and why it's going to help you become more effective at communicating. Are you ready? What this framework really highlights is that there's no one-size-fits-all for communication. When we are hanging out with our friends in a casual setting, we are going to communicate differently than when we're in a boardroom and running a meeting, or when we are making a sales pitch, or when we're trying to make a client pitch. The whole idea of communication is that it is changeable, that it will vary according to a number of things. So let's get into it and see what those number of things are. S, that stands for scene and setting. This just means the actual physical location where the conversation takes place. So we call it the scene and the setting because it's exactly what it sounds like, the scene or the setting. Where does the conversation or the communication take place? Are you at a coffee shop? Are you in a boardroom? Are you on stage? Are you on the phone talking to your best friend? Right? So scene and setting. P, that means participants. Who are the people with whom you are engaging in conversation? Who are the interlocutors? Are you speaking to an audience? Who's the audience? What is the demographic of the audience? What are their interests? These are all really important questions that will help us decide how we're going to communicate with the participants. E, that stands for ends. So this means the purpose. What is the reason behind engaging in conversation? What is the reason for communicating? And it's really important to understand that because it will make the reason you're communicating so much clearer and it will make your message that much stronger. What message do you want to get across? Are you trying to persuade someone? Are you trying to give information to someone? Are you trying to apologize to somebody? What is the purpose? A stands for act sequence. So that just means the speech acts and the order in which they are presented to the speaker. Different speech acts include apologizing, inviting someone, greetings, the list goes on. K stands for key. This means the way the speaking is performed, the tone of voice you use, the inflection patterns, the prosody, which means intonation, the manner in which you deliver the message. So the style, you can think of it as elements combined for delivery. I, instrumentalities or instruments. And that means the mode of communication that is used. Are you speaking on the phone? Are you messaging over text message? Are you broadcasting a message in an office space, for example? Are you on stage? N, norms. This is the norms of the conversation. So this is important in that you have to understand the culture in which you are communicating. It is not enough to know the language, right? And as I said before, language and culture are intertwined. They are best friends forever and ever and ever, and they cannot be separated. So you need to know what the norms for proper, appropriate conversation is within a culture, within a subculture, within a group, within a speech community. And those rules are really important because they are the social rules that govern communication. And it's really important to respect these rules and adhere to these norms because that is how you can effectively engage with people within that group, within that speech community. within that country, within that culture. The list goes on, right? You can be native speakers from that same language, from that same culture, yet you can come from different speech communities. So in order to effectively engage with somebody from one speech community, you need to be able to understand that speech community and what norms govern their social interaction. What is appropriate? G. G stands for genre. So you can think of it as different types of communication. For example, maybe you're telling a joke. Maybe you're gossiping. Maybe you're telling a story or giving an anecdote. Maybe it's a conversation. And these are also dependent on the culture. Different cultures have different ways of dealing with jokes. Different cultures have different types of jokes. Is satire used? Is it appropriate to gossip, right? So again, this is where language and culture, their intertwined nature, pops up yet again. We cannot separate them, nor should we. That is the beauty of cross-cultural communication and communication in general, for that matter. Alright, Explearners, that's a wrap on this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Do give me a like if you enjoyed it, which I hope you did. And don't forget that your communication will differ according to these things that we talked about in the speaking acronym. And since it's a mnemonic, it's pretty easy to remember and quite relevant too. Speaking, framework, and it's for conversations and the way you communicate. So I hope you enjoyed this video and share it with a friend, and I will catch you right here on Explearning Communication in my next video. Happy Explearning!